And to kick off July, man, we've got a very interesting main event, Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov, and I believe UFC knows what they're doing with this matchup. They're trying to fast-track Abus Magomedov to a title shot because Israel Adesanya needs contenders, you know what I mean? If you look at the rankings, Adesanya, you just fought and beat Pereira. He's beaten Whitaker twice. He's beaten Vettori twice. He's beaten Cannonier recently. He's beaten Paulo Costa. He hasn't fought Dricus du Plessis, which we'll get to later, because Strickland claims that Dricus du Plessis is actually getting the next title shot. He's hasn't fought Strickland yet. He has fought Brunson. He hasn't fought Dolidze. He's fought Gastelum. He's fought so many guys in the rankings, and I feel like the UFC is like, man, like who do we give Israel Adesanya at this point? We don't want to keep doing rematches, and they're gonna fast track Abus Magomedov here. I know there is another reason for this fight. Sean Strickland did say he wants to fight soon. He wants to fight now. He was not going to be offered a ranked opponent in the next 6 months or so, and he was like, you know what, I'll just fight Abus Magomedov, you know. And so yeah, he's getting the fight. He wanted to fight soon. He gets the fight soon, and Abus Magomedov is probably falling into similar situations. He's had a few fights cancelled. Some of them he pulled out. Some of them his opponent pulled out. And Dana White even said in the announcement that people are turning Abus Magomedov down. People don't want to fight Abus Magomedov. So maybe the UFC was kind of just responding like, yeah, let's just send him up the rankings. Sean Strickland will fight anyone. Abus Magomedov is anyone, you know what I mean? And Sean Strickland's like, yeah, I want to fight, so I'll take it. But I feel like this is also a pretty calculated move by the UFC. Because I just said, Israel Adesanya, has fought pretty much everyone in the rankings. He's cleared out the division. The UFC needs more contenders. And Abus Magomedov, although he's only 1-0 in the UFC, he kind of does have potential to maybe earn himself a title shot, because if he can go out there and beat Sean Strickland, and then if he can go out there and beat Jared Cannonier or Marvin Vettori, the winner of that fight, he's getting a title shot. He's 3-0 in the UFC and he's going to get a title shot. He just will, honestly, because UFC needs more contenders at middleweight, because as I said, like they're desperate. And you could say, well, why don't they just fast track Bo Nickel? Bo Nickel, they want him to win. They don't want to risk Bo Nickel losing. With Abus Magomedov, he's almost 33 years old now. He's got a nice flashy record, but they can risk him losing to Sean Strickland. They can. With Bo Nickel, he's like 4-0 in MMA. They give him Sean Strickland, for example, and he loses. They can't risk that. You know, they could risk it with Alex Pereira, because Alex Pereira, it wasn't really like an all or nothing situation with the UFC and Alex Pereira, but Alex Pereira was kind of up and coming himself. He had that beef with the Z. The UFC probably really wanted to make that fight, and they did. And but yeah, even if Alex Pereira lost, it kind of would have been, it's like, oh well, Sean Strickland, maybe Sean Strickland next to the title shot, because Sean Strickland, you know, he promoted himself pretty well in that press conference. But with Abus Magomedov, it's pretty low risk or high reward for the UFC. Honestly, from the company perspective, I think you send Abus Magomedov up there with your number 7, I believe, ranked contender in the UFC. And if he beats Sean Strickland, he's number 7 himself. Then he can fight someone in the top 5 and earn himself a title shot. Honestly, that's probably how they're seeing it right now, because at this point, the division is wide open for anyone to make a name for themselves. Roman Dolidze was unranked a few months ago, and then he took a short notice fight. He beat Jack Hermansson, and then he took on Marvin Vettori. Could have potentially won that fight, but things just didn't quite go his way. And you know, if Roman Dolidze beat Marvin Vettori, he would probably be the next in line to fight Israel Adesanya, despite being unranked 6 months ago. That is how wide open this middleweight division is, because Israel Adesanya has fought and beaten everyone. So all of these unranked guys, man, they should be like, man, like, I need to get a ranked opponent, you know, I need to build up. Especially guys that have such high ceilings like Abus Magomedov. Do I think Abus Magomedov wins the fight, though? I don't know, because the thing with Abus Magomedov, this guy does not fight often, man. He fought, last fight was 2 years and 4 months ago. Then he fought Dustin Stoltzfus and he won in 20 seconds. We don't know how good this guy is, you know what I mean? Do I think he could knock out Sean Strickland in a minute? Probably not, honestly. Sean Strickland is striking defense. It's good but bad, kind of simultaneously. Like, it's good as in, like, he's got a very odd style. He kind of like slaps away punches as they come, and it does leave a lot of openings to parry. Like, you can slap and then strike, but it does still leave him pretty open because he can still get hit. He kind of doesn't move his head all that much when he is trying to focus on the parry, on the slaps that he does. He's got a very upright sort of boxing stance as well. He is like a guy with a wrestling base, like from way back, but he just doesn't use it anymore. He just kind of boxes like his good friend Chris Curtis. I think Sean Strickland's got a very good chance to win this one. But I kind of want Abus Magomedov to win so we can get some new people to fight Izzy. And I think even if Sean Strickland won as well, they would have a lot of upside for the UFC. Because Sean Strickland, he's so marketable, but he's so not marketable simultaneously. But Sean Strickland at a press conference, man. Sean Strickland at a press conference is gonna make a name for himself. And I think this is an interesting matchup. I think this is genius. I think this is smart from the UFC. I've said it like 3 times this video, but UFC needs middleweight contenders. Israel Adesanya needs to fight someone new. If Abus Magomedov beats Sean Strickland and he beats someone else, Israel Adesanya will say, yep, I haven't fought Abus Magomedov yet. He will be, 27-4 if he beats Sean Strickland and someone else as well. That's just a good record on paper as well to throw on your own record. And Adesanya is probably only a few title defenses away from beating Anderson Silva and on the GOAT status. I think Adesanya's got like 7 title wins or something like that. Anderson Silva's got like 11. So if Adesanya can like maybe win a couple more fights, and maybe Abus Magomedov could be one of them, he could really build a name for himself as one of the greatest in the sport and one of the greatest at middleweight. So yeah, you have a very good chance Magomedov gets it done here. I'm very interested to see what kind of approach he takes to this fight, because in the fight against Dustin Stoltzfus, I know it's Dustin Stoltzfus, but all he did was just kick him in the head and finish him off. But that's all he had to do. We haven't really seen too much of him recently apart from that. Like, he had a very long sort of run in PFL for a year. He's fought good guys, he's fought not so good guys. Like, we don't actually know like how good is Abus Magomedov really. We're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out. I'm going to watch some of Abus's older fights and see what he's all really about, but be interesting, man. Like, he's got a really good win there over Cesarius Kisnik 2.5 years ago. So after rewatch all of his old fights, I did the research for his Dustin Stoltzfus fight. I picked him to win. He just dominated that. So it's interesting though. But now we're talking about him fighting number 7 ranked Sean Strickland. It's such a weird matchup, but I love it so much for the reasons that I've stated before. What do you think in the matchup? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.